Everybody, today we're reacting to the review of Race and Rescues and Runaway VHS review to Green Ninja Lloyd. I got your Edward video that you wanted me to react to. Since it's an hour long, I will be doing your video next Saturday. So I'll be doing your video next Saturday so that I don't have to worry about school or work. And I'll be able to do it at that time. So if you could bear with me a little longer, I will get to your video. I promise. Without further ado, let's get started. I do not own Thomas and Friends or the music. Let's get started. Okay, let's see.
Hello again, my fellow YouTubers. I welcome you all back to another pretty exciting review. And this time, it's a crazy one.
Warning, sometimes I will get angry with what I think of this person's review, so just give you a heads up.
No big intro needed, and let's get right on into the history of Races, Rescues, and Runaways.
Okay, let's get into it. I'm probably gonna get pissed, so just fair warning.
Races, Rescues, and Runaways was first released on VHS on August 10th, 1999 by Anchor Bay Entertainment. Just from this release alone, this release had quite a number of the variants for the sticker labels on both the blue and black tapes. Sometime in 2000, the VHS was re-released again, but with the solid blue and black ink labels. Also, on the same cover, some releases had a round sticker labeled All New Stories by new narrator Alec Baldwin.
Cool.
Here's a fun fact. Back sometime in early 2000, I distinctly remember buying this particular cover with that same sticker, and the tape was a blue ink. Seems so surreal that I bought that tape with my parents over 23 years ago. Then, for the third time, Races, Rescues, and Runaways was released on July 24th, 2001. 1 year later, on July 23rd, 2002, came the DVD releases. 3 years later, sometime in 2005, the Slim Case was then released. And lastly, once again, sometime in 2009, the DVD was redistributed by Lionsgate. And of course, where would this DVD be without all the bonus packs, such as the Horrid Lorry Harry pack, which I can say I've never seen before, and the Wooden Railway packs. As you can see, there is a ton. You've also got double DVD sets with races being released with either Thomas and the Jet Engine or On Site with Thomas. And you can also find this DVD in the Totally Thomas Volume 2 set, a 3 DVD lunchbox set, and the Soda Friends Holiday Collection. Okay, so now that release history is complete, let's take a look at these crazy episodes.
Okay. That's kind of what I was hoping for.
So, Races, Rescues, and Runaways features 6 of the most wild and wacky episodes from Season 5, following a bonus music video at the end. Toby and the Flood, Put Upon Percy,
I love Toby and the
Horrid
Flood.
Lorry, By George, Something in the Air, and Oliver's Fine. So, we begin with our first episode,
no, I'm scared.
Toby and the Flood.
I'm scared.
After it's been raining for several weeks, a dam suddenly starts to leak and is in danger of breaking apart. It finally bursts, and poor Toby is then swept away, and it's up to Percy and Harold to rescue him before plummeting off a nearing waterfall. This is one of, if not the craziest episode of Season 5. It's completely non-stop, from beginning to end. And while, yes, it's over the top and very much unrealistic, it's full of action, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
It is.
And you can really feel the sense of urgency when all these situations are taken so seriously. Despite them being unrealistic. Both the score and visuals really show how much of a dark tone this season really had in store.
Pretty much.
The gloomy atmosphere setting in with one of the longest orchestral pieces by Mike and Jr. This is definitely one of their best pieces.
It was a good episode.
Man, that still gives me chills.
Well, yeah.
In that regard, remember how I said Season 5 never sat well with me? Would you believe me if I told you that this was the episode that started it off? Oh yes, This was the first season 5 episode I ever watched, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Wow.
More so because Toby was always one of my favorite characters.
Well, that's
so to see him in this dire situation, well, rightfully, I was terrified for him. So it only makes sense that if the overall story and music was enough to freak me out at such a young age, then these guys did their job right. Well,
yeah,
freaking done. I do not care whatsoever if this was over the top. I certainly don't care if it was unrealistic. It's just such a fun story, and it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of Classic Thomas.
Mine too.
A well-deserved 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, I agree. It deserves 10 out of 10, that one.
Our second episode is Put Upon Percy.
Percy
grumbles about having too much work and complains that he is put upon. As he's working, some runaway trucks crash, causing the mine to collapse. And one thing leads to another with sinking rails and an avalanche burying Percy alive. This is another that gets pretty wild. To think, all of this was caused by a couple of runaway trucks. And it just kept going with one thing leading into the next. Seriously, when are we ever going to see this huge amount of commotion like this ever in a Thomas episode?
That's true. That was a crazy episode. Like, so much happened at once. Yeah, and then he was under an avalanche.
Then again, Toby and the Flood and many other episodes after this are just as dire.
Yeah.
So Put Upon Percy is right on par here. Now, while there is no set moral for this story, I think Percy showed us how everything will benefit you in the end, while either acting quickly in any type of emergency, as well as working hard. Sure, he was terrified, but he was also very brave in the end.
Yeah,
This is the character arc to which I adore Percy.
Oh, yeah.
I will always love his cheeky side, but this season 5 arc of his is something that really needs to be praised.
Yeah.
Something the later seasons really slacked on.
Yeah.
And man, does it show.
Oh, yeah,
This
it
is definitely
does.
another of season 5's best episodes. More so, my favorite, right alongside Flood. Another solid
10 out of 10. I'm not surprised.
Next comes our third episode, Horrid Lorry.
Oh, I hate that
The
Lorry!
engines have too much work. 3 lorries arrive to help. However, they soon discover
I do not like the lorries. I do not like them at all.
that the lorries are horrid and tell the engines they'll all soon be scrapped.
Ah!
Lorry after the other has their own issues, and the engines work harder than ever to make sure they never return. Alright, so now we've got 3 short-lived newbie characters who are also a trio of dicks to the engines.
Pretty much.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I wasn't exactly fond of this episode in the early days, but I've warmed up to it a bit. One line that does strike me a bit here is, "Times are a-changin'." If that isn't the truth, I don't know what is.
That's true.
But how it gets played out throughout this story is pretty funny. It seems like right from the very beginning, these lorries are a huge threat to the railway compared to the other road vehicles we've already seen.
Well, yeah.
They just keep taking every other bit of work for the engines while ranting about how they're all too slow. Meanwhile, who broke down, reversed into the sea, and can't steer for Yeah, okay, guys. There is one major thing I do need to know.
What's that?
Who exactly gave the order to ship these lorries to Sodor?
Yeah.
It couldn't have been Topham since we don't even see him throughout the whole episode. This was an idea remarked by Cranky. Are you telling me that maybe Cranky put in the word with somebody to have these lorries shipped here?
I didn't even think of that.
Damn, he might be even more devious than we originally thought.
What?
One last thing I should mention is how excellent Baldwin's voices are for the lorries. I feel like he's trying to do some kind of impression, but I'm not exactly sure what.
Well. No wonder this railway's a mess. You belong in a museum, not working in a quarry. I might look old, but I'm very useful. Useful? Ha!
I love the narrator.
Just you tootle off.
But regardless, these voices are just too perfect.
Yeah, they are.
So overall, I do think this episode is a bit of a chuckle to sit through.
Yeah.
I rank it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
And up next we have Bye, George.
No, I do
George's
not like
overall
George.
grumpiness starts to irritate the engines, and while working on a set of lines, he does it improperly, causing Thomas to crash.
Oh, no.
He causes even more trouble when he blocks Duck, sending one of his cars flying by Gordon.
Toby!
Well, compared to the last 3 episodes, I'm iffy with this one.
Nah, I don't blame
George
you.
is a little more annoying here than the events that were played out in Steamroller. I could see if he was annoyed with someone like Sir Handel,
Yeah.
but what exactly does he have against everyone else?
I have
Oh,
no
right, I forgot. One engine screws with a non-vehicle character, and next thing you know, every engine's on your list.
clue. Nah.
What also irks me is how stupid George's crew irresponsibly handles the track work.
Really? You
Are you
think?
guys blind? How did you
I have to agree. His crew is
not know that was going to cause an accident? I mean, think about it. That was only done because Thomas ignored George for, I don't know, doing his job? And then George got pissed? What? That's not an excuse to just intentionally wreck an engine.
pretty much.
And he almost caused another between Duck and Gordon because George wouldn't move. Why did you block Duck's path? You weren't doing anything. What
Yeah.
the was the point of all that? Also, if I were STH, I wouldn't have given George a week of punishment. I'd kick him and his crew the hell out.
Duh.
Intentionally doing horrible work and delaying others while putting other engines at risk of crashing, then you don't deserve to be here.
Goody.
Oh,
Overall, I rank
Wasn't
this
expecting
episode
that.
a 5 out of 10.
Well deserved 5 out of 10. I agree.
Here we have our next episode, Something in the Air. Damaged
Ooh,
tracks by the
Henry's in the
coastline
water,
cause
okay.
Thomas to be late, which upsets Henry.
Of course.
As he takes the flying kipper down the coast, thick fog rolls in, and soon it's too late as Henry literally swims with the fishes.
He does literally.
Ah, we finally have another signature.
I'd like to know how they got the model Henry to spit water in that video. Like, I what's their secret for doing that? That's incredible.
Henry episode. And it's good, aside from, well, a few gripes. Well, let's start off with Henry himself.
Okay.
We're back to the personality of what I like to refer to as Dick Henry. I said it once, and I'll say it again. I don't very much care for this side. I
Me
got
neither.
enough of this in season 1 and 2.
Pretty much.
Knock it off. 2, Topham really needs to rethink who he hires on this railway.
Doi.
How stupid do you have to be told that the coastal route is dangerous, but still have Henry run on that line?
Duh.
You cannot seriously be this stupid.
Doi.
And lastly, how is any of this Henry's fault again?
Duh.
There goes Topham, once again, blaming
Like, why is he blaming Henry? It's his driver's fault.
something on the engines that was totally out of their control. It's not like the crew came over to him and said, Henry, you can't use that track. And he cocks back and says, oh, this, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I think Henry's a little smarter than that.
Yeah.
This is why my hate towards the Fat Man gets a little more deeper. On a more positive note,
And this is why I like the CGI series, because in the CGI series, Topham isn't such a jerk! Topham is such a jerk in the original! I'm sorry! I will prefer the CGI series over the original CGI series, Sir Topham Hatt is not a jerk. Sorry, but that is facts.
This episode did give us some pretty nice shots of the coast. Probably some of the best we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
And that crash is pretty intense.
How are
Kind
you
of gives me
performing
Takes
today?
the Plunge vibes, except
does.
more funnier when Henry spits out the water.
Again, how does
Isn't
it get
it
him to
weird,
do that?
though, that we've already had 3 different stories with Henry pulling the kipper, and they've all ended up in accidents?
Pretty much.
I think this is a sign that Henry should maybe keep away from fish trains.
Doy.
Not exactly the best Henry story in my eyes.
I
but
like
you know
it, though.
something? It's not entirely bad either.
No, it's not.
I rank it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And now we have our final episode.
Okay.
Oliver's Find.
I love this one.
When Oliver bumps some cars off the tracks, Sir Topham Hatt orders him to take the mail train.
Yeah.
Whilst on the job, he runs late and is sent down an old track, crashing into an old shed. Soon, a search party finds them, and it's then discovered Oliver has found a new attraction for visitors.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to not care for this episode. Naturally, because I didn't care for Oliver as a character by this point.
I liked him in a way.
But as time went on, now this episode is pretty enjoyable. One can even relate to Oliver in this scenario. Him
Wow.
tired of doing the same thing over and over again,
Oh, yeah.
longing for a nice run.
Yeah.
That would
yeah.
be the equivalent of any person with a normal daily routine and no change whatsoever.
Yep.
It's always nice to change things up, but while doing so, be sure not to do anything
I've been through that.
stupid in the process.
No.
And while Oliver's discovery is interesting, I'd be a little more excited if we actually got to see what it turned into afterward, since this was the only time this house was ever shown.
Yeah.
Oh, and did I forget to mention that none of this would have happened had it not been for the lazy signalmen? What is with these people dozing off on the job?
Yeah.
Yeah, Topham, I think you need to start handing out pink slips. It's
Duh.
real simple. Just write it out, give them a little piece of paper, and then say, "Get the fuck out of here!" I also need to point out that I love Alex's voice for Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much different compared to the New York
I
accent
like his
George
voice.
provided.
All I do is shunt these freight cars onto the turntable. I long for a nice run. It's what an engine really needs.
While
like
it's
Alex's
good,
voice.
I still very much prefer Carlin's voice, as that's always been my interpretation for how Oliver should sound. In any case, my favorite Oliver-centered episode still remains at Oliver Owns Up.
Yeah.
But I've at least grown to enjoy this episode a lot more than what I did before.
Oh, yeah.
I think this episode deserves an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
And just before we close out the tape comes our bonus music video.
Oh, no.
Accidents will happen.
Yeah!
Well, as I pointed out in my classic song
I love that song!
rankings, while the song is good, you still have to admit it's pretty overrated. To
Hey!
this day, this song still gets an ungodly amount of attention.
I love
Not
it!
to say it's a bad thing.
I
The
love
song
it!
still slaps. I just don't consider it a personal favorite, as it's not one I would want to listen to a million times.
Oh, for me? Absolutely!
I'm still trying to figure out why it grabs so much attention. Wait, I think I figured it out. 'Cause crash equals views, right?
Pretty much.
Great algorithm.
I love that
So what are
song!
my final thoughts on races, rescues, and runaways? This tape is wonderful. It's my second favorite season
I
5
think I have
release,
that DVD,
right
actually.
behind Spills and Chills. But did anyone ever bother to point out that the title of this tape is just a bit misleading?
I
I'm
have to
not
agree a
taking
little
away
bit.
the fact that
Hang on, I
most
think
of
I
the
have the
episodes on
DVD.
here are good, but I feel like only 2 episodes really major in the VHS title itself. That being Flood and Put Upon.
Hang on, everybody. I think I have this tape. Just give DVD. Just give me a second. Scratch that. I don't have the DVD of that one. I'm gonna have to get that one.
I don't really see too much of this in Horrid Lorry and By George, and with Something in the Air and Oliver's Fine, the only thing I would really say is that there is the rescue portion, but it's only a teensy little bit, and I'm not counting that. Compared to Spills, that
Yeah.
tape was pretty on point with
Oh, yeah.
the Spills and Chills theme,
Yeah.
apart from one episode. I feel like if they mix some of these episodes up between the 2 tapes, I think you would have had better results.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Just don't change the music
Holiday
video.
should have been on races, for example, for the rescue portion. You could have really amped things up if maybe Boulder was on this tape to give you 2 out of the 3.
Ooh, I didn't even think
And
of
let's
that.
say maybe Something in the Air, because it's a spill, should have been on Spills and Chills. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I am.
But I'm not going to completely bash the tape for aspects that aren't all there. Because again, most of these stories are pretty enjoyable. If you like crazy, over-the-top, and very much unrealistic nonsense, then this is the perfect tape for you.
I gotta find this DVD for my collection.
So that concludes this review. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to check out my other review.
Well, that was a good video. I'll see you all in the next video. And Green Ninja Lloyd, hang in there. I will get to your video about the history of Edward. You have no idea how excited I am for this video, especially since Edward is my second favorite engine. So please bear with me, Green Ninja Lloyd. I will get to it as soon as I can. This is KBear101 signing out. Adios, everybody.